Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Kern County, California only averages 7 inches of rain a year, yet it is one of the largest agricultural producers in the country. There is a complex story here about water rights, irrigation, and land use, but that's not what I want to talk about today. No, in this video I'm going to discuss crop insurance. For without this vital tool, farmers, not only in Kern County, but across the country, would be at risk of losing everything whenever a natural disaster hits. So why is Gail Fuller unhappy with his insurance? I'll let you know at the end of this video. But for now, if you are a farmer or thinking of buying farmland, here are the top things you should know about crop insurance. Number 1. Crop insurance protects against the loss of crops due to natural disasters or the loss of revenue due to declining prices. Most crop insurance is provided under a federal program, meaning that the premiums are subsidized by the U.S. government. Number 2. There are 2 major types of crop insurance. The first is crop hail insurance. This is a privately provided insurance, not part of the federal crop insurance program. Therefore, it is not subsidized. They are often secondary policies designed to insure crop losses that either aren't covered under the federal program or that fall below the federal coverage threshold. The most common type of crop insurance is multi-peril crop insurance. This is the federal crop insurance program. Most farmers have this kind of insurance, and it covers against the bulk of losses that farmers commonly face. The federal crop insurance program is a public-private partnership between the federal government and 15 private insurers who have been approved by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Risk Management Agency, or the RMA. Number 3, there are also 2 ways to insure your crops under the federal crop insurance program. The first is yield-based insurance. This kind of policy will pay out if you suffer a yield loss relative to your historical or average yield. Typically, if your yield is less than 50% of the average, you will get a payout. And the payout is typically set at 55% of the estimated crop value. The second kind of policy is a revenue-based policy. In this policy, a farmer also selects a level of coverage relative to an average yield, typically around 50 to 70%. But the plan will also set a projected price for the harvest. The amount covered is the difference between the projected revenue and the actual revenue. Number 4, if you are applying for a policy under the federal crop insurance program, you will apply through a private company or insurance agent, not through the government itself. But you do need to select one of the approved providers, and you can find a full list of these providers at the USDA Risk Management Agency's website. Number 5, because the federal crop insurance program is a public-private partnership, the government, through the Federal Crop Insurance Corporation, establishes set premium rates and insurance terms for all approved providers. The federal crop insurance program is also subsidized, which means that both the farmer-paid premiums and operating costs for the private insurance companies are reduced. And finally, number 6. As an insured farmer, you do have some responsibilities. You must report all required information to your insurance agent or provider in order to establish a contract and guarantee. Now, even under the federal insurance program, you are still responsible for paying all applicable premiums and fees, as with any kind of insurance policy. And you must also notify your insurance company when a loss occurs if you want a payout. But perhaps most importantly, if you are insured under the federal crop insurance program, you must follow the appropriate farming practices laid out in the Risk Management Agency's guidelines. And this is very important because if you deviate from the practices dictated by these guidelines, you could be at risk of losing your coverage. Which brings us back to Gail Fuller, the farmer unhappy with his crop insurance. Gail practices no-till agriculture, a strategy that involves using crop rotation and cover crops to control weeds in lieu of major tilling or herbicide use. And in 2012, his no-till cover crop system came into direct conflict with the cover crop termination guidelines set out by the federal crop insurance program. Cover crop termination timelines are stipulated by the Crop Insurance Risk Management Agency to ensure cover crops are removed early enough in the season so that they will not act as weeds when the insured cash crops are planted. And this strict timeline meant that Gale was denied crop insurance coverage during the 2012 drought when he missed his cover crop termination date. As a result, he ended up losing much of his land when he couldn't afford to put seed in the following year. Fortunately, the Risk Management Agency recently updated its guidelines, allowing more flexibility for cover crop termination. But this didn't help Gale, who today has pivoted almost entirely away from commodity crops, moving toward a more diversified system that includes some commodity grains, but also perennials, native grasses, cows, and chickens, more or less reducing his need for crop insurance altogether. And even with the new guidelines, many advocacy groups believe the RMA still has a way to go to ensure that all conservation practices endorsed by the USDA are compatible with the federal crop insurance program. But what do you think? Let us know your stories or thoughts on crop insurance in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.